All right, even with the slump in mortgage rates over the past year, there are still broader headwinds facing the housing market, particularly home builders. According to Goldman Sachs' update of the housing market outlook, which was just released, they say tax cuts from 2018 have lessened tax incentives for owner-occupied homes. That's causing people to think twice before buying. Secondly, we know the labor market is tight, but the construction labor market is tight as well, making it hard for home builders to find workers. And guys, I mean, I think this is a really important point because part of the reason home prices are so high is because there's limited supply. And this point wasn't exactly part of the Goldman note, but I think it's important for us to discuss the fact that people our age, millennials, are not necessarily buying homes anymore, right? They're renting more. And I wonder if that becomes a more secular trend, or is it just a delayed rite of passage, right? Millennials have student loan debt, and so once they get that paid off, then maybe they'll pull the trigger and buy a house.
I don't know about that, because also the trend is living in urban areas. And so when you think of homes in urban areas, those are also kind of out of reach price-wise. So I don't know. I think that it just stays. I think that we always get back to this point, which is, as millennials, we don't even think about the idea of owning a home for the most part.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I don't think that our generation will never buy homes. So I'm with you, and others have suggested this, that it's just delayed and it's going to happen at a later age. I do think it's something that eventually will hit. But I think this is all related, right? I mean, people in our generation are getting married later. We talked about this on the show the other day. And the way that, interestingly, that helps companies like Nike and Lululemon. Because women are staying single longer, so they're buying more fashionable athleisure gear from Lulu. I love that little detail. And then similarly, because we're waiting longer to get married, of course, waiting longer to buy a home. But I don't think it will never happen. I was talking with friends the other day about how we all still generally think that the divorce rate is 50%.
Right.
And isn't that upsetting? But actually, the latest stats on that are very old, and we haven't yet seen new stats, but I have a feeling that for our generation, if you recheck that data in 10 years, it's going to be a much lower percentage because people aren't getting married at 21.
Well, and the problem right now is if millennials are buying homes later than they normally would, that's a problem for baby boomers, right? Because they're sitting with these expensive homes that they can't sell.
Sorry.
They were trying to downsize to fund their retirement, and now these homes are sitting on the market and because no one wants them.
Well, and they screwed our generation in a lot of ways. So I mean, you know,
it goes around. Well, another thing too that I think about is also how many of us like hop around from job to job, right? Like our retention rate for jobs is pretty low as well compared to the previous generation. So that plays a role in also the home buying. That's an investment in an area, and a lot of people move cities. I know people who have left homes after 2 years. So, I don't know.
Yeah, well, if you're going to be that transient, it doesn't make sense to own a home because the transaction costs are so high.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the quit rate is high, so job market good. Jumping around. I'm the exception. I've only worked at 2 places for a long time each.
Well done.
Been happy.